When do I think that things will level set? I think things could have the potential to level set when largely folks are ready to have the conversation. There still seems to be tiptoeing around the issues, whether it's racial makeup, racial discrimination, sexual orientation, makeup, discrimination, or whatever it may be. So biases play out, but there's an inability to call it what it is. If you think back to the whole sort of riot or the demonstration. I'm sorry, not riot, demonstration down in southwestern Virginia when the woman was run over with the car and by one group of demonstrators, and Trump said that there were good people on both sides. No, one side was demonstrating hate. And so neo-Nazism, yeah. Call it what it is, mm-hmm. right? But because there's a large inability or reluctance to do that, this country is demonstrating that we're not ready to, put reparations aside. Whether or not one is entitled to reparations, I think is subject to debate, mm-hmm. right? But again, even if you were to afford and to enact wide sweeping legislation that says that people who can demonstrate Afro descent would be entitled to reparations, that still doesn't cure the issue. Mm-hmm. Okay, that because all people don't value financial reparations. I think what's interesting, even in the corporate workplace, I've come to understand that people in a corporate space will give you the money and the pay, but not the respect.
Yeah.
And so reparations doesn't fix that. Reparations doesn't force the conversation. And so again, we have, I think, inchstone, and I call them inchstone, regulations. Some states are a bit softer in their civil rights protections than others, right? We have Title IX protections at the federal level, but then states can determine what falls into that category. In some states, even things like certain mental health issues are not protected, or in some states there are. So some states are more progressive. And so there's too much, there is too much latitude, whether it's given at the state, local courts, or jurisdictions, as to whether or not there is an equal level of respect. Companies are still demonstrating disparity in pay. Mm-hmm. And so until you do that, similar to the wide sweeping decision to bus and to integrate schools, until you have those affirmative decisions nationwide, we will continue to have the disparity. We will continue to demonstrate lack of readiness to have the discussion. And I think you will always have lagging disparity, whether it's related to free speech or Black freedoms.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's all about just talking about it and having these types of discussions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was going to focus this next question on Kanye West specifically, mm-hmm. but I feel like it kind of more relates to just Black celebrities in general with their freedom of speech and what they say, and how that impacts other people. Before I get to Kanye, LeBron James, he was in the news recently about the whole protest in Hong Kong and how he wanted to stay silent and stay neutral about the issue. And it seemed like he kind of wasn't taking advantage of his Black freedom of speech, and being someone as such a high level figure, it seemed like he wasn't just taking advantage of what he could do. Yeah. Would you say the same, or?
Yeah, I mean, I subscribe to the theory of saying nothing is actually condoning the current environment, mm-hmm. and the current environment is disparity. And I think LeBron James, such a powerful figure, has a platform, mm-hmm. and I think his inability to, utilize his platform to do something for the greater good, and he gets to determine how and when to use that platform, I think is a missed opportunity. Mm-hmm. And so, again, I think freedom of speech or free speech is exactly that. He doesn't have to say what I want to hear him say, mm-hmm. but he needs to say something.
Yeah.
And so I think it's voices like his, voices like Trump, voices like Obama, that people will listen to. And so I think it's a missed opportunity. And I think, again, it sort of goes along with what I talked about there is oftentimes a lack of readiness to approach the problem head on.
Okay. We got a couple minutes.
Okay.
So do you think that Black freedom, as it changes, do you think it'll be for the better or for the worse in the current climate? Yeah.
I always am someone who believes it gets worse before it gets better. If you look around at the current environment, right, you see the rate at which there's police violence largely aimed at the Black community, the Black male in Black communities. It's horrific. Mm-hmm. Families losing fathers and losing brothers and sons. Every one of those is hurtful. It's another symbol of a reminder that we still are far outpaced. It's just a matter of how bad it will get. And then I think it can and should get better, but it takes a village. And it takes a village of people that look like me and others. And so I think we have to have the willingness and the readiness to approach it. So I think it usually gets worse. I think worse is defined by many different facets, but I'm hopeful that it gets better.
I'm glad you're hopeful, yeah. So it's nice talking to you. Thanks
Thank
for listening, everyone. That was Black Freedom of Speech, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.